There are two properties that you can set on fields in your model to help report and visualize them in different ways, such as when you need to sum up a field or rather aggregate a field not using a sum. So perhaps you wanted to average them when you aggregate it. And there's another one for when you want to map fields over different geographic locations just to help get it in the right place. Let's take a look at both of those. I've got some data here showing me locations that we sold products in and the margin and sales amount from each location. When I select one of these fields, you'll see up on the ribbon, I get different options for formatting these. So for example, I want to make, I can make my sales amount a currency, so put a dollar symbol in front of it, and I can make my margin a percentage. And you can see that we format it the right way around so that my numbers are in the right part of the decimal place and we get a percentage sign afterwards. But you can see we've actually aggregated, summed up the margin rather than doing an average, which would be more appropriate. We've summed up the sales amount by default as well, and that makes sense. When we import this data, it's just coming through as raw figures, so we don't really know what to do with it. Always by default, we'll sum things up. But for a margin, obviously, we want to change that. So I make sure margin is selected in my field list, and up on the properties area here, you can see I've got a data category and default summarization. I want to change my default summarization and actually say, make this an average. You can see the column that I already added doesn't change apart from the title. So you can see I'm explicitly saying this is actually a sum of margin, which is obviously not what I want usually. So I'm going to remove that field. And now if I add margin back in again, you can see now we're actually taking the average, so the average 34.5%. It doesn't explicitly say average because I've set that default to be an average rather than a sum. I can override that on a per visual level as well in the field well here by choosing sum or average, max, min, standard deviation, variance, all of those different options. So that's one property. The other one is around mapping and locations. Let's get rid of margin again and add these things onto a map. Make sure I'm plotting the right areas. So I've taken those four values that I had, New York, Washington, Alabama and Georgia, and plotted them onto a map. Now, because by default, all we've done is called this field location, we just send that information off to Bing and say, hey, can you plot these things? Tell me where to plot these on a map. And Bing doesn't know that, okay, actually Georgia could be a state, it could be a city, it could even be a country. Alabama could be a state, or there are cities called Alabama as well. And then for Washington, is it the city, Washington, D.C., or is it the state, Washington? The same for New York. Do we talk about the city itself or the state as a whole? It's taking its best guess, and usually people refer to, when they say Washington, they either mean Washington, D.C., or when they say New York, they mean the city. But if you're referring to Alabama or Georgia, Bing gives us the states. Now I can go and override that as well. If I click on the location field in my model, you can see I have this data category option. And this lets me specify what type of field this is. So if I wanted to say, actually, this is definitely the states, I choose state or province, and now you can see this is plotting the bubble in upstate New York, I'm plotting the state, Washington, and I've still got my Alabama or Georgia states. If it was the cities, I can override that as well, and you can see I'm back to Washington, D.C. and New York City, and it's plotted the Georgia in Vermont and Alabama in upstate rather than New York as well. So you can use this data category property to help give hints to things like mapping, and also if you have URLs that you want to use as a link or to show an image, that's where you go and set these categories as well.